Okay. Okay, and yeah, we are live. So, welcome, a warm welcome from each and everyone coming from Let Us Talk It team. Thank you so much. And I know you were looking forward for our topics for today. So, anyone watching on Facebook and on YouTube, please stand by. And then, if you have comments or if you have questions in place, put it on the comment section or the chat section, and our speakers will happily address that one. So, first off, my name is Phil, and I'll be your moderator for today's webinar. This webinar is hosted by Cogent Integrated Business Solutions. They're based in Detroit, Michigan, an IT company who wishes to give back to the community, and they thought, why not we do this webinar so we can share knowledge for free, as knowledge should be free. And information is everywhere, but definitely, information with experience of seasoned professionals hits different. So we have today two new guest speakers and two new topics to discuss with, and they'd be happy to impart their knowledge and experiences with us today. And for those who are listening live, all right. So to start off, let me just get the first topic for you today. Okay. First topic is evolution of data analytics in sensor data industries. So, about this topic, it's a walkthrough on the changes happening in the sensor data industries. And to talk about this topic is a CEO of Data Stride Analytics and an automotive industry expert as well, with more than 8 years of experience in data application and system knowledge. And as a CEO, our speaker has led initiatives to accelerate the adoption of data analytics in sensor data sectors, passionate about innovation, and failed 6 patents in the field, and focuses on building an AI enabled co pilot for sensor data industries and aiming to enhance operational efficiency. And without further ado, our speaker for today, Divya Krishna. Please take over.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks a lot for that introduction. First of all, welcome to everyone who's there for this webinar today. And the topic that I'm talking about today is sensor data analytics, the evolution of sensor data analytics. So before I start off, I think Phil has already covered most of the parts. Just wanted to give an introduction about what we have done. My history as well. Basically, I'm from Bangalore, India, and I have a postgraduate in information technology from Frankfurt University, and I am an automotive expert. I've been on the system engineering side and as a lead data scientist as well. So with all of that experience, last year we have started our company, and the aim is the adaptation, the adoption of AI into these industries to accelerate the process of building applications which are data centric and which are data driven. So that's the aim of our company, and we are building the world's first AI co-pilot for sense data industries. So with that, I'll just start off with today's topic. I'll share my screen just a minute. Hope it's visible. So today I'll be talking about sensor data analytics, the evolution of sensor technology, and how it is useful in building value addition to end users or companies where all this sensor data is generated. So a quick introduction on sensor data analytics. So it is the process of collecting and analyzing and what the data is talking to you through sensors. And this sensor can be deployed in various environments. The aim is to, for the industries, is to build insights from this data and have optimizations, performance, efficiency improvements. All of that is what they're aiming for. So sensors, so how we humans have our own sense organs, and how we are trying to access knowledge and take decisions based on that. So sensors are devices that can collect data, that can sense the environment, and through them we get signals that can be interpreted and can be used for understanding the environment where this is generated. So there are a lot of sensors today, for example, temperature sensors, and there is pressure sensors, location. There are cameras which have sensors, which is trying to give you information about the changes that are happening on the photo light sensitivity through pixel information. So there are a lot of sensors that are currently available through which integrated systems are being made. So the components of a sensor data analytics pipeline, of course, they have sensors where the data is generated, where it is mounted, and the environment data is generated. The second part is the connectivity, where all the data that is generated is sent to a secured space, a remote server, the cloud in this case. And the third part is the analytics part. So they are trying to organize and analyze whatever data is coming onto the cloud space or any other remote space. So the main advantage of doing such analytics um, is gaining insights from which there is knowledge generated, from which there is value addition to businesses, and to also understand the system better and also optimize it with maybe adding more sensors or removing certain sensors. So it's all about understanding the environment, the system, and trying to further innovate on that. So the sensor technology, this can be, this is the start of the 20th century, where the transition was happening from core mechanical systems to adaptation of sensors and embedded software and hardware into the systems. So the combination of both led to better controlling of the systems and looping of the systems. So with advancement in electronics, there were microprocessors, integrated circuits, which made easier for these interactions to happen for a better understanding of the system. So with all of that sensors integrated, there was a huge amount of data that's generated. So during the product development and validation phase, they would manually collect sensor data with devices and would analyze it based on certain statistical methodologies or based on certain visualization techniques, just to understand if the system that they've designed, whether it's perfectly okay or not. But the access to the data was limited once the product is out of the manufacturing facility or out of the company. So for having real-time analytics to understand what is the current status of all the system and components that's there in the product, that's where the start of IoT devices, it initially started. So these IoT devices enabled the users to be able to collect and build better solutions. So it was able to collect sensor data and could be pushed to a cloud platform as well. So initially, it was statistical modeling or statistical understanding of the data, but as and when the volume of data increased, so the need of advanced analytics also increased. So the concepts like predictive maintenance, data mining, all of them started coming in because they wanted to gain a lot of insights from the sensor data itself. So with this, also a lot of challenges emerged. So the data integration challenges, and where sensors have different formats of data and it is coming from different sources, and to be able to standardize that and be able to put it in a way that can be analyzed. So that was a major challenge. And with the volume of data that's coming in, so the main issue also was on the computation and storage part of it. So the present systems, the local systems, were not enough anymore to compute or store the volume of data that was coming in. And sensor data is, I would say, unless and until someone understands the environment from where this data is generated, they will not be able to make sense of the variations that are there in the data. So of course, a lot of data science concepts are there, and this complete data analytics pipeline itself is complex. But with sensor data, the complexity increases because of the understanding, proper understanding of the domain where this is generated. And initially, it was manual analysis that the companies were doing with the volume of data that was coming in. But now, because of the huge volume coming in, manual analysis was not enough. And that's where automations and through programming and algorithms, all of this started. And the result of all of these limitations was that the workflows on sensor data, there were significant delays on the applications that had to come out through sensor data. So to address this, one is definitely the advances in sensor technology that happened. So the sensor accuracy is increased, and sensor sensitivity improved, and also sensors, the miniaturization of sensors happened. So sensors were able to fit into different systems and components, and also if there are any impacts of such that system or the components on the sensors, it would not have major effects. So all of that is what is being taken care of today. And with growth of IoT in industrial settings, so all of these IoT devices plugged in the system or products. So all of these IoT platforms enabled that connectivity between the data and the storage. And the sensor integration also increased rapidly. For example, in the automotive industry itself, there are so many regulations, emission norms that they have to follow. And to do that, there's been increased number of sensors usage in the automobile industry. So this will help the end user, the companies to be able to understand the systems better, and also design the systems better. So there is a combination of these integrated infrastructure, which is currently being used to collect the data. I would say the collection of data, the infrastructure required for storing it is taken care today. But the real-time monitoring that has to happen needs a lot of analytics. And that's where the industry today is there. And there are a lot of teams set up for doing such kind of analysis. And from that, the decisions that they will be taken will be more informed and data-driven as well. So with the volume of data that's coming in, two major issues that'll definitely that the industry also faced was storage and processing speed. So with sensors, initially it was KBs of data, now it's GBs and TBs of data. So the transition is huge because of the maturity of infrastructure of collection of data. So with that massive volumes of data that needs to be stored, there has to be a facility that could accommodate such kind of demand. And also the processing of this kind of data required a lot of computational power as well. So to address this, I think most of it today is addressed by the cloud infrastructure that is available. So these cloud infrastructure like Azure or AWS or GCP, or even there are a lot of other cloud players who are coming in. They are letting the data volume to be able to sit in the storage that they've created, and also they've given ways to compute so much of data. And since a lot of companies and a lot of teams are sitting in different corners of the world, the accessibility of the data also is good now, and they are able to collaborate on their insights and be able to build better applications. And with sensor data, so there is the main infrastructural challenge of data loss or data theft. They are trying to mitigate that with encryption during the transmission. And so all the data breaches and privacy issues, all of this is being addressed today. Of course, with cloud infrastructure, we have role-based access controls, we have multi-factor authentications, and we have secure data backup as well. So there is no issue of data loss. So majorly all of the issues are mitigated, but there are certain issues that are still being addressed. So once the data is in in the storage in cloud, so what is it that end user is aiming to do? So this is where all the machine learning algorithms, artificial intelligence that we are speaking today, all that comes into picture. With data, there are a lot of possibilities that can be done. Especially certain possibilities are pattern recognition, where automatically certain patterns are detected, which will be useful for further innovations, for anomalies, for making predictions. And there are models where which are used for forecasting what can happen in the future, and this will enable for predictive maintenance. And other than this, there's also anomaly detection, where sensor data is analyzed to see if there are any deviations from normal behavior, and flag potential risky issues as well. So why analytics? Why what is the use of doing this kind of sensor data analytics? So majorly it is to reduce the downtime. There are so many machinery, there are so many systems that are working, and all of these systems are monitored so that with data we will be better prepared for the issues that might occur in these kind of systems or machinery. And also with this, the total downtime and also inventory management, resource management, all of this can be done with the information about what can happen in the future. So with improved quality control as well. So now in the quality side of it, there are cameras and computer vision algorithms. The infrastructure is designed so that it can find out what are the defects in the product, or what is the deviation in the product. So this is an automated process. So without human intervention, the quality is also significantly increasing because of all the learnings the system has had. And mainly with all of these things, the idea is people who are working in such industries, in these facilities, so with the information about these systems or components they are working with, so we will be able to mitigate safety risks as well as prevent accidents. So we have the cloud infrastructure matured enough, and the data analytics part is also happening. With this, there is a need of edge computing whenever these models or this intelligence is built. So the idea is now that all the data processing and analytics should be closer to the source of data generation. So this will help in reducing latency, and also it improves responsiveness. So the advantage is that with such kind of systems, with models sitting directly onto the control units or processors, we will be able to reduce bandwidth, and also enhanced data privacy and security for sure. And it's easier to respond for critical situations without any cloud dependency as such. So this is where a lot of industries, a lot of companies are working towards, with how the training that has happened on these models, the models that are sitting on cloud, how can that be leveraged, and the information, I would say a short information, a shorter model can be included into the control unit itself. So the benefits with sensor data analytics, of course, it is understanding the business operations. So whatever processes that are being followed, whether if it's actually working or it has to be optimized, and also information on predictive maintenance. So this is majorly for reducing downtime. And with the advancement in technologies, the customer requirements also are evolving, and customers are expecting more of transparency and real-time information. So for example, here the components and systems that are there in a car. So with data analytics, now there will be solutions that will come which will tell the exact health status of the components and systems involved, With that, the user can plan their service or the next trip that they're taking. And with all of this analytics that is happening, there is also product development, the innovation side that is accelerating because of the real time insights that they are getting. Of course, with all of these advantages, a main purpose also is to optimize operations and have that cost cuttings based on the best process that they can set it up. So that is a benefit. So I also want to talk about the industries where sensor data analytics is there. And the first one is healthcare. In healthcare, there are IoT devices to monitor patient health remotely. That is one vertical that's taking a lot of speed now. And also, there are a lot of there's huge amount of data that's generated from patients, and they're trying to find out what are the causes, for the data that they're getting in terms of health. So that is something that they're working on. And other than that, of course, on the machinery part, it is tracking hospital assets, trying to monitor it, and for better resource usage as well. And with all of the resource usage, so the utilization and consumption of assets also can be optimized and improved. In automotive sector, majorly now the autonomous vehicles that are coming in, they have their complete architecture revolving around sensor interactions, and they are also thinking of technologies like sensor fusion, where different sensors are fused together in an integrated chip, and can be further used for better information and faster accessibility as well. And other than that, of course, on the vehicle performance, there are sensors to track how the vehicle is performing in terms of speed or fuel usage or engine temperatures. And there is a very important application also is on to identify dangerous driving patterns, especially relevant for fleet companies where there are a lot of vehicles, and there are different drivers taking those vehicles. So to understand how the driver is running the vehicle, and if there are any issues with the vehicle, what is the cause of that. So all of this is currently there are a lot of applications that are coming up for this. And there is predictive maintenance to forecast any issues that might happen, and indicate the end user about its possibility. In agriculture, what they're trying to do is monitoring weather conditions with better understanding of how the weather is and how the crop growth and health is, and also soil composition. So farmers will be able to decide better on what they have to be doing for a better crop yield. And there's definitely livestock tracking as well. So these are certain applications in agriculture. And other than this, there's energy, oil, and gas. So here, it's equipment monitoring, trying to understand if there are any issues or deviations, and there's predictive maintenance, trying to see failures and hazard management to detect leaks, spills, and if there are any hazards in real time. So all of this is a possibility with sensors integrated. And other than this, also transportation and logistics. So here, the vehicle performance can be monitored, and driver behavior can be monitored for better decisions on how to optimize the fleet itself. And there's cargo tracking, and also route optimizations for faster delivery. In manufacturing, there is monitoring equipments, so to track different properties of the environment. And there's also optimizing processes, so to increase efficiency and reducing waste. So sensors are being used. Of course, quality control, where defects are detected at an early stage, thanks to advanced technologies like computer vision being employed. Other than that, we have predictive maintenance, and also understanding of the hazardous or dangerous conditions for the workers. So with all of this, what they are ultimately trying to achieve is better machine productivity, with the insights that are coming in. So they will be able to take decisions backed by certain data or proof. And also with all of this, there'll be better outcomes in the company and efficient operations. So in sensor data analytics, so the future trends I personally see is that there are a lot of advanced machine learning algorithms that are coming in. For example, self-learning algorithms which can adapt to the sensor variations and be able to take decisions on their own. And there are field like robots or autonomous vehicles where employment of sensor data analytics it's majorly done today. And with that, they are increasing the efficiency or the intelligence that they can build into these systems. And other than this, the privacy and security, definitely with all of AI and data. So one issue will always be, or one thing that everyone will be worried is about how secure the data is. So there will be definitely regulations coming in the coming years about how data has to be handled on cloud. So all of this will be as regulations that will be mandatory. And with not only that, all the sensor data analytics will be used for human well-being as well, in terms of health monitoring and wearable watches. So there are different ways to understand, how the human health or human health patterns are. So that is a industry that is booming as well. And with sensor data analytics, of course, we will be able to understand environment and the impact of the changes that are happening. So for monitoring, this is currently used, and there will be applications or use cases coming from all the data that is generated during that monitoring phase. So AI is such that it has to be ethical AI. So there have to be a lot of regulations in terms of how people can trust the data that's sitting on cloud. So all of these regulations will definitely come into place with ethical AI. And yeah, so I want to conclude saying that sensor data analytics, not just sensor data analytics, but AI itself will bring about a lot of transformations. The change is about initially it was mechanical systems. If I take automobiles, then it was embedded mechanical systems. Now it's going to be data-driven embedded mechanical systems. So that's where it is heading to, and the transparency is increasing with all of the advancements in technology. There are a lot of insights, and this helps industries to grow better and also give innovative solutions as well. So thanks a lot for joining this webinar.
Thank you so much, Divya. That was rather overwhelming. Yeah, most of the topics is not under in my coverage, so
Okay.
I'm really trying to absorb everything right now. But
Okay.
it's really very great talk. So yes, acknowledging the presence of our CEO of Cogent, we have here Sir Srini. So mentioned great session and very informative. If you
Thank
have any
you.
questions, sir, or comments, sir, feel free to unmute. And from our attendees as well, yeah, would you like to input additional information or related topics or yeah, some few questions from our attendees?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, actually, I was have been listening to it. Yeah, it's a great session. Thank you. It is packed with information, and
Thank
we'll
you.
definitely stay in touch to explore synergies. Thanks again for
Sure.
your time today.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, you can. Awesome. All right. Do you have a minute? Srini, can I ask a question?
Go
Oh,
ahead.
yeah, yeah. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure what the schedule was, but thank you. I joined in a few minutes late, but I'm definitely go back and try to listen from the beginning. This is a great session. Thank you so much. Divya, I had a quick question. What is
Yes.
the best way for someone to transition from a different career, of course, from IT into to get into this data analytics and AI and machine learning, the topic that you were talking about? What is the best way to transition and what is required to transition?
So, what I would say is, so this data science topic is a skill set. So this is something that can be learned over different courses. So
Mm-hmm.
the understanding of where this data is generated, that's very essential. So we are moving to a place where not just one skill set will be enough, but it's a collaborative skill sets that will enable us to produce more innovative solutions. So anyone who's having a transformation from core industries to data science, it's another skill set that has to be added. So the understanding of the core domain knowledge is necessary, but with that there are a lot of courses that can help you understand how the data that's generated in those industry can be leveraged as insights. So it's a skill set that has to be acquired, and I think it's pretty interesting as well. So the topics itself, it's interesting.
Right. Thank you. What is the main difference between a data scientist and a data analyst? Is there a big
Okay.
difference or they both are the same?
No, it's a data analyst, I would say, is a part of what data scientist does. So
Okay.
data scientist is focused on creating models or algorithms or the intelligence which can be reused, which can be deployed for insights or decisions. Data analyst is only looking at the data that is coming, the patterns that are there. But with that, he'll not be able to come build a model which can be deployed further. So that's the
Got
main difference. It's a part of the complete pipeline.
Gotcha. And what are the main tools does data analysts, what tools do they use? And the tools, what tools do data scientists use for building the algorithms?
Yes, Python is a major language. They
Mhm.
will a lot of algorithms, a lot of libraries are there, and now there is the rise of no-code platforms and co-pilots, one like what we are building. So, in
Mhm.
which there is not much knowledge needed on data science itself, but just some understanding about what they want, maybe the variable of interest. Those tools are coming up. For visualization, it's Power BI and Tableau that's been there.
Ah,
So yeah,
okay.
these are some of the tools. Yes.
Gotcha. Thank you. That answers a lot of my questions. Thank you very much and really great session. Thank you, Srini, and thank you, Divya. That's
Thank
all I
you.
have.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's thank you for interacting. All right. So we don't have any questions on live platforms yet as of the moment. And yeah, are there any other comments or additional questions before we move to the next topic? Okay, none so far. All right. Okay. So before we move to the next topic, we'd like to check if are there any future events you'll be holding online or trainings, or have you released any books, newsletters you can
Uh,
invite?
so we have our first version of the tool out. So it's a AI Copilot for sensor data analytics. So I'll be sharing that link in the comment section later. So it's
All
a
right.
it's a version
Divya,
that they
I'm
can try out. Yeah.
sorry. What
Yes.
you said you are releasing a tool, and who's releasing the tool? I'm sorry. Is it from Cogent?
No. It's about the tool that we are building from DataStride. So it's a tool for sensor data analytics for accelerating sensor data analytics.
Got you. So I'm actually an IT professional. I've been product
Okay.
manager, product owner, right? And of course I'm trying to see how can I upgrade my skills. And the two areas I'm looking at AI and machine learning, and the other thing is data and analytics, right?
Yes.
Uh, and there's one more, cybersecurity. These three areas
Mm.
I'm trying to see which is the best thing to switch. And I'm pretty
Yes.
intrigued with AI and machine learning. But my only concern is that I'm not a programmer. I do not have any
Mm.
hands-on coding experience.
Mm.
So, and that's why I'm a little concerned about getting into AI and machine learning. Would how
No, I
much
think you should then
programming is
use our tool
required?
definitely,
Yeah. Okay.
Anupama, because it does not require coding or prior knowledge of data science. So it will be a great
Fantastic.
platform to start off with in building applications. We give summaries as well for your better understanding on what is done or what has been done on the data.
Do
So
you
I
guys
think
provide
definitely you should
training?
try out.
You
Yeah.
provide.
There's a one-day training. It's a pretty straightforward tool. I think we can connect on
Fantastic.
that.
Oh, thank you so much, Divya. Yep.
Yeah.
Srini, if you can share Divya's information, that would help, or if you can connect me, either ways. I mean, whatever the rules
Yes.
are. Thank you, Divya.
Yeah, sure, Anupama.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much for that one. So that actually ends our first topic for today's session. So I actually appreciate those who have stayed on live platforms and looking forward to for our next topic. So thank you so much, Divya. Really wonderful talk. And the next topic we have today is rebooting the education system. So looking at things from the quantum. So this is a kind of rare usage of words in the topic, but definitely it's worth hearing out. So a short description is that education is the cornerstone of our society. So, however, like our current situation or education system has often been criticized for its uniform, one size fits all approach, and this leaves a significant percentage of our young people underserved, those who do not conform to the standard learning style. So today's diverse and rapidly evolving world requires an education system that caters to individual learning styles and promotes critical thinking and creativity. And to deliver this topic for us is the CEO of Puzzle Box Academy. And also kaleidoscope interventions, and a seasoned educator holding a degree in early childhood education and very well versed in regulations regarding reimbursement of insurance plans regarding child therapy services, have worked as a licensed insurance agent and adjuster for over 2 decades. And in the year 2007, our speaker left behind the finance and insurance industry when her son was diagnosed with autism. And since then, she has dedicated her life to the education and early intervention treatment of children and their families on autism spectrum. And without further ado, and for all also for us to hear from her, personal side and a little introduction about her as well. So here is Pamela Fur to discuss the topic.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, because we're hitting multiple time zones.
Yes.
Divya, I wanted to tell you that you missed a key factor in data analytics, education. More and more, because we're an ABA-based school, which is applied behavioral analysis. So in your slide, when you were talking about the reason that we use analytics, I have kindergartners right now in my campuses that are data platting to see if they're meeting their goals every single week, because that, again, is a problem with our core of education worldwide. We wait 6 to 8 weeks, sometimes even 9 weeks, before we sit down and look at the child and whether they have grasped the materials or if they've just gotten by in class. You know, we all know the student that just keeps their head down, whether they're stenciling, whether they're doodling, or whether they're engaging. Some of these students are being missed. The big reason we're being missed is because the way educators are being instructed to teach the class needs to change. So I'm going to share my screen with you all just to give you a little insight about why I'm here speaking. Like he said, my name is Pamela Fur. For the last 10 years, I have opened Puzzle Box Academy. We are a private school on the Space Coast of Florida, and we gear towards the neurodiverse learner. I like to call it the alphabet soup. We have everything from autism spectrum disorder to ADD, ADHD, ODD, OCD. If your child doesn't sit in the chair and learn the way everyone else in the classroom learns, normally in about 6 to 9 months, they get kicked out and sent to me. We do specialize in what I like to say, the children's who don't have bad programming. The reason we take a quantum approach, I'm going to get to you, is because just like science changing, just like the world of analytics changing, just like augmented intelligence, artificial intelligence, as we are changing and growing, getting back up to speed to where our ancestors used to be, we need to change the way that we instruct our teachers and the way that we instruct our students. But it has to start from the administrators. It just can't be in the classroom. It has to start with those of us that are sitting here on this webinar, those of us that are tuning in to find out how can we break the norm and be those new wing thinkers like our Elon Musk, our Jeff Bezos, the people that are out there making changes. Those are outside of the box thinkers. I can tell you for sure, both of those gentlemen were not the ones sitting in class raising their hand, just agreeing with everything that was being taught. Why? Because they are questioning the norm, just like the majority of our students. In the United States, the prevalence of the neurodivergent learner is 1 in 36 children right now. In 2005, when I started this journey, it was 1 in 186. So if we look at that time frame and in a little over 2 decades, the numbers don't lie. I'm an auditor and adjuster by first career. So I lived my life by the strategy like many of the engineers do. Numbers don't lie. People lie, but numbers don't lie. Same way with our children. Our children are simply vibrating at a different level. So we're going to get into why am I doing what I'm doing? A quantum approach to education. That's what's needed. So if we understand the laws of quantum physics, we understand that the quantum is simply the very tiniest study of particles. So we can go all the way down to the subatomic particle, the pencils, the desk, the paper, the airwaves that we're speaking on right now just by being able to do this video conference. These are all things that are vibrating through vibration, through sound, going through the quantum field. The reason that we talk about this being so important right now is because we need to start looking at children in this same way. Looking at a child or a classroom in the masses is not working any longer. As educators at the administrator level, when you go through college, you're taught that you are to focus on the mean, the 80% of the classroom. So that leaves our top 10% of our producers and our bottom 10% kind of left to their own demise. Hopefully, they will catch a little bit of that information. So that's what we've been teaching since the 1920s, at least here in the Western world. I'm an advocate that we need to wake up and we need to start looking at some Eastern beliefs and the way education was approached decades upon decades ago. We need to start looking at children to be children. Right now, mental health worldwide is at an all-time high. Statistically, in the UK right now, every 30 minutes, which means we've been on this conference, all of us together for 44 minutes. We've already lost a male to suicide in the UK just while we have been on this webinar. That has to change. That's our society. That doesn't see rich, poor, Black, white, Asian, Mexican. It doesn't see nationality. These are disabilities. These are basically the product of what our society has led us to over the last 2 decades. I see kindergartners coming in that are supposed to be learning how to be students that are already worried about, am I going to get an A? Am I going to get a check mark on my paper so that I can take that home so mom and dad can be proud of me? That's why we have to stop looking at this as a mass and we have to start looking at it as individuals. This picture right here, I am sure all of us that are on this webinar either know someone or know exactly who this is. I chose this character because my son's name is Loki. Loki is my North Star. He's the reason I do everything I'm doing. But he's 18 years old. He's before the Marvel movies, and he knows all of his Norwegian mythology and will educate all of us real quick on the differences between Marvel and real life. But a lot of our kids can't. Why do we need to start talking about the quantum? We need to start talking about the quantum because our children already are. Any child that has had an iPad, an iPhone, some of this just advertising on TV screens across the world, we all understand Marvel Universe, DC Universe, everyone is into anime now worldwide. And these theories are being taught to our children through cartoons and through movies. So as educators, we also have to keep up to speed with our kids. So I won't show you the video. My kids go crazy over this. We need to actually start teaching so that we can evolve to keep up with our kids. That is the biggest piece. What I'm talking to you all about right now, I tested out with my kids. I sat down and I taught a classroom of fourth graders to sixth graders because we have blended classrooms in our school. We don't believe that age dictates development. So children need to be looked at because a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old may be on the same level, but that 4-year-old may read better than the 6-year-old. So we have to look at exactly where that child is, not just, oh, this child was born in 1982, therefore they should be at XYZ. This child was born in 2020, they should be at XYZ. All children develop at their own speed. And we have to start recognizing, just like we do in quantum theory, that everybody develops in their own way. It doesn't make it good or bad. We have to start thinking outside of just right or wrong. This screen here talks a little bit for those of you all that don't understand quantum physics. This is the definition that Caltech uses for quantum physics. Quantum physics simply is the study of energy and matter all the way down to the smallest particle. One of the things I teach is about superposition. And superposition, if we look at it, means that I can be in multiple areas or zones at the same time. I could be smiling, but still be stressed out. Our children can come in looking like they're ready to learn, sitting down in that classroom, but not even be with the teacher, not be with the caregiver, not be with the parent. So we have to, again, look at the student as a whole and not just looking at them as they're sitting at that desk. So that's a big piece that we teach in all of our schools and our campuses. I have over 30,000 square feet in the Space Coast of Florida, and we handle everything from 2-year-olds all the way up to 23-year-olds. Why? Because not all 18-year-olds are ready to head to college. We do what we call the 13th year here. A lot of schools in Canada and UK also have the 13th year because social and developmentally, they may not be ready to head outside of the home or to head to college at that time. Doesn't mean that they're academically not there. It just means social emotionally, they need some more prepping before we head them out into the world by themselves. This again talks about just right and wrong, good and bad. We've got to get rid of those terms because there is no such thing as just right and wrong. There's always 5 sides to every story. There's 5 sides to every student. There's 5 sides to every learning module. Just like I'm sure you all didn't realize that we were going to be able to pull in the analytics, the data analytics that the wonderful woman just spoke about into education. Well, you can. Why? Because we want to know where that child is progressing, not memorizing. So by keeping track of the data, the ABC data collection that the teacher does, that the student does, checking to see on a weekly basis if they're hitting their meets and measures, we're able to stop the lesson there and go back and retrain, reteach those foundation skills. If we do not keep the data live, what's going to happen? 9 weeks from now, little Johnny or Sally that was in the classroom has already lost 6 weeks because in week number 2, they got lost. Without tracking the data, we wouldn't be able to see that. Then we would be going, okay, now how am I going to keep up with the classroom, but still reteach the 7 weeks of material that the child has lost? Again, don't look at the mean. If we start teaching to the top 10 and the bottom 10%, which is throwing education on a completely different spin, you're giving the opportunity for the 80% to then bond, to pair. What does bond and pairing mean? To entangle. We're asking our kids to quantum entangle in the classroom because when the kids start mentoring, shaping, and pairing with their peers, you will watch classroom management become very easy for the teacher and the instructor because the students will start shaping the behaviors within their own community. Again, I got to go back because community is key. We're losing that in our homes, we're losing that in our businesses, and we're losing that in our education system. We are so focused on individuality that we forgot that the core concepts of being human beings is being community. We are social beings by nature. So what we need to do is, instead of embracing individuality, we need to start looking at what can we do as a collective. And guys, coming from someone that watches the news and sees the hate, the uneducated, the disruption that's in our world today, leaders and thought provokers like ourselves that are all coming in different time zones just to be part of this webinar, we need to make the change. We need to show by example, by showing that we don't see color, sex, creed, religion, personality. No, we just see community. We see human beings. In my schools, in my clinics, and like I said, in the last 10 years, we've helped over 1,500 families. Disabilities do not care whether you're wealthy or whether you're poor. This is a uniform thing that happens. So we need to brace that and understand that if we teach our children that and don't teach them the bad programming that's been instilled in us, then we have our new thought provokers. We have our new learners that are coming forth. Families come to me all the time and ask me, what's Johnny going to be like when he's an adult? Well, let's not worry about that right now. Let's worry about giving Johnny the best chance at a great life while he's here with us. Why don't we take what we could learn? I have paid to learn how to quiet my mind. I have paid to go speak with some of the best gurus, some of the best influencers in the world right now that are teaching meditation, that are teaching not the mind, not the body. Our kids already know how to do this. When we see little children stimming and when we see little children rocking, they've already quieted the mind. They're going directly back where we all need to do, and that's remember the creators that we all are and embrace that and encourage that. And that's what we have to do within our school system. Uncertainty principle, that's also taught. It's one of the three of the key functions of quantum physics, is recognizing and understanding you do not know everything that's going on with that child or with whichever, whether it is you're looking in the automotive field, whether you're looking at human resources and you're looking at an employee that you've had some complaints on, you need to understand the whole employee. I have a lot of companies, because of my work in the neurodivergent field, that ask me, how do I make my employees all unity? How do I take my neurodiverse employees that are some of my best employees because they hyper-focus, because they don't allow these distractions to get to them? I've got high schoolers here that are running CCAD better than some engineers because this is the way their brain thinks. But I have employers afraid to hire them because they may jump up and flap their hands. They may rock at their chair, but yet they'll be probably one of the best employees that company has ever had because they don't understand the employee. This is the same approach we take in our classrooms. We take the approach of understanding the entire environment. Some of our kids, that teacher is mom and dad, because they don't have that at home. Because of the financial situation the world is in, we have families working 2 or 3 jobs, both parents, just to make ends meet. So the love, the compassion, the empathy, that's the student getting that in the classroom. Because when the student gets home, we don't know, they could be working a job. We don't know what is expected of them in the home environment. They may be mom and dad to their siblings because mom and dad are vacant in the home in order to keep a roof over their heads. So as educators, we have to look at every child that we don't know the whole story. Every child we need to look at as a fresh start each day they come into that classroom. Not, oh God, here comes Johnny again. No, how about what can I learn from Johnny? So it is a key component, again, not just in the academic field, but also as employers. As the CEO and CFO of my company, right now, we've got over 100 employees throughout our campuses, and every single one of those employees is a family member. Every single one of those employees has the opportunity to leave their drama at the door or bring it with them every day. And if they bring it with them, our kids will pick up on it just like our staff will. So again, remember your community and your family. You will get buy-in. You will get people that look for careers and not jobs. In this world right now, we have so many people seeing influencers making millions of dollars by wearing a new blouse. But we have to look at a shift that we are dying in the world of tradesmen. Who's going to make that blouse for them? That's what we need to start explaining to our students. I was just at a conference in Dubai in the Middle East, and I was able to see that there is still such a gap in understanding the organic component of neurodivergent learners. I had a parent that came from Abu Dhabi into Dubai to talk to us because her child has ADHD, that's attention deficit disorder, with hyperactivity. So this little girl cannot sit still. And I'm sure all of us that deal with engineers a lot, we see that too. The engineer that's just like, okay, can I get back to my work, please? I don't want to talk to you about any of this social stuff. Just let me go do my job. Same thing here. We get rockers. One of the biggest ones that I used to hate with women were these. And we all had those pen clickers that while they're talking, they have to click. This is the same thing. They've just found another way to rock or to stim, self-stimulation. So what we have to do is we just have to teach that that's a coping mechanism and that that's okay. This mom had the child called from school, sent home from school, was told that she was being disrespectful because she couldn't sit still. So you have a wonderful, bright, educated little girl that's already being held down because the teacher hasn't been educated in these organic components. The teacher feels that ADHD is a child that is running all around the classroom, can't sit still, but not to the level of some of our higher functioning kids. These are the obstacles that we have to make sure that we are all looking at. Same thing in certainty principle. You do not know everything the child is dealing with. So in order to be the best educator, the best employer, make sure that you become familiar with your employees. So goals as educators, recognize the potential in every student. As employers, let's recognize the potential in each one of our employees. Fostering the connections between them. You do not want isolation at work. Build that family mentality, get that buy-in. When you have buy-in, you get dedication. When you get dedication, you get loyalty. That will then eliminate your turnover rate. Embrace uncertainty of their individual journeys. Not everybody is made to be an engineer. Not everybody is made to be a musician or a basketball player or a football player or a doctor. We need plumbers. We need electricians. We need custodians. Let's all think about it, what it would look like if we had a society that didn't have any garbage keepers any longer. So we need to stop lowballing these careers and positions and start raising them up. And again, we would do that as community if we were unified. Lead our students to greater engagement and growth. I can't tell you how key that is. Lead by an example. Because I'm on this, I have my hair done and makeup on. But typically, if you came to any of my campuses, Miss Pam would have her hair in a ponytail with no makeup on at all. Because I need to show my little girls, my teenage girls, that as a successful businesswoman, you don't need to be something that you're not. We're in a world of filters and Photoshop and influencers that you've got to have the best of this. What about recycle and reuse? This is what we should be teaching our kids. This is what we should be leading as an example with. So how do I do that? Well, leads me to this. Guys, over the last 10 years, we have custom built a teaching model that will teach educators, caregivers, nannies. It does not matter if you are in control, if you're a stay-at-home mom, if you know people that are stay-at-home parents because they have a neurodivergent learner at home. In many societies, especially in my Asian homes, those children are kept at home. And we need to train, how do we handle those children? How do we give them the best foot forward? How do we make them successful? At the same way, how do we become a neurodivergent, neuro-inclusive employer? Well, I have got a team of probably some of the best in the country because it's taken me 10 years to pull them together. And we actually come to businesses, we come to schools, we come to communities through our nonprofit, and we teach. Because just like how this entire webinar started, knowledge should not be just for those who can afford it. Knowledge should be free and accessible to all. Because again, we need to go back to our community. If we can't build our neighbor up, who's going to take care of the neighbor. So that's my gift to everyone here. I'd like to leave with this little quote here that says, nobody changes until they change their energy. If you change your energy, you change your life. You can make that every single morning. I ask all of my staff, is like, where does your joy come from? It doesn't come from your cell phone. No, there's no button that says, okay, joy, please. Let me get a shot of joy. It doesn't come from your kid giving you a hug. It may stimulate that. Doesn't come from your paycheck. Doesn't come from the kudos that your boss gives you. It comes from within. And because your joy comes from within, you can bring that forward at any point, anytime. We do this throughout our business. We'll look at each other, and if we hear that one of our colleagues is like talking down about themselves, we'll be like, change. And we stand there and wait for them. Change. Come on, change the way you're wording that, change the way you're saying that, so that we can then influence in a positive way. So I'm going to end with Dr. Joe Dispenza. Your thoughts are incredibly powerful. Choose yours wisely, because where your intention goes, your energy goes. Where your thoughts go, your energy goes. So if we're all sitting here and we're thinking doom and gloom, we're going to bring more doom and gloom to us. So from my home to yours, I am literally just an email away. Knowledge is power, and we should all be sharing this together. So thank you all so much.
Yes, that totally agree. I second the motion. So yes, definitely, knowledge should be free, and that is our aim as well in this Zipinars that we are doing. So the information you have shared, Pam, is very timely. I've had an internship on some like K to 12 schools, and then their approach, like, they get annoyed to those students that need special attention, who are very energetic. Like, it appears that they hate seeing those students, which they
Yes.
shouldn't be. Yeah, so that's yeah, still stigma is there. All right. So yeah, we'd like to entertain questions from co-speakers or from our attendees. I'll check live if we have any.
I'm just
Okay.
that good.
Yeah,
No, you've
definitely.
got us thinking on what are the methodologies next that can be employed.
We do what we call it is a Me Too page every time we hire a new employee.
Okay.
And on that page, we ask them specifics like, what is your favorite food? What is your favorite thing to do in the afternoon? What do you do when you have time off? And so not everyone is reinforced by their paycheck. Some employees, I can tell you, they like Oreo cookies, or they like fruit, strawberries, and all of a sudden, just to come back from lunch and to see on their desk where we've put like a little fruit bowl, or we've left them one of their favorite candies, just out of the blue, you would be amazed at the sense that that makes their day. Something so small doesn't cost. Do you see what I'm saying? Something so little, but can bring such big weight to the employee to make them feel, oh, they thought about me. I'm just not a number. I'm a human being, and they thought about me. Then when you've got deadlines and you're like, okay, guys, mandatory overtime this week, we got a project we got to knock out. That's okay, because now they know, well, guess what? You took care of me. I'm going to take care of you. And the ones that don't, well, they filter themselves out, and you don't want that as part of your family. People ask me all the time, they were like, oh, well, you shouldn't say your employees are your family because you don't fire family. Yes, I do. And I have. That's mental health wise. I know you're working on your psychology degree. So, and I'm sure they tell you, us as human beings, sometimes you have to let those bad family members go. Otherwise, you're enabling their behavior and they will never grow.
Protect your peace.
Exactly.
Protect your inner child, I would say.
Yes, yes. And right now I'm protecting all of my little autistic and neurodivergent kids. Mama's here for all of them. It doesn't matter what country you're in. It's my heart. My son led me to this. And it's funny, he's working. He's on 8 days. 8 days away from his psychology degree. And I asked him, I said, why? He was like, I can't be a teacher like you, Mom. Doesn't know all my ins and outs. And then I asked him, I said, well, why so specific? And he said, because autistic people need autistic doctors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It kind of says it all, you know?
Yeah. So like living in the same world, so better
Yes.
understanding. Wow. That's a great thought of pursuing something. So yeah, the idea itself, it's very generous already. Already. So yes, that was really captivating topics that we have today, everyone. So if you have missed this session, you can review it in our YouTube page. Let us talk it, and also you can search the names of our speakers to connect with them on LinkedIn if you wish to interact or send them a private message for any queries that you may have if you have missed this session. So before we move to the next thing, let's check if you have anything to promote, Pam.
So I don't know if you can see it behind me, but I have a book that's available on Barnes and Noble, Amazon.com, in multiple countries. It's called Can You Hear Me Now? And it is the story of my son and I. It talks to parents from a parent and caregiver perspective on what we did biomedically. I am not a firm believer in pharmaceutical treatment for children that are neurodivergent. Um, that's just a band-aid. What we need to find out is why are these things happening? And so that's the approach I took with my son. And I give all the information, all the tips, the tricks, everything there for all of our readers so that as a mom, they know it. And as a dad, especially because dads need more support than ever because we're at a 40% more gentlemen, boys being diagnosed than girls. So it really does affect our females slightly, but our males really in population wise. And we have lots of moms groups. There's a lot of moms chat, moms chat, moms chat. But dads keep this internal. They have to be the strength of the family. So what we host is a thing called Dads and Donuts. And it's just so that other men can share their strife and their story and find companionship and strength because it's a lot. Hey, I'm a spicy redhead. Can you imagine me as a mom of an autistic kid on top of it? So men need that support group. Us women, we find it all the time. We talk, we powwow, but our men really need to understand that they're not alone going through that process. That's it. Or you can find Puzzle Box Pam. Just Google Puzzle Box Pam. I'm all over the place.
Alrighty. Okay, that's perfect. Wow, that's really wonderful. On the second thought, we're actually like Cogent also or Let Us Talk It will be holding a Women's Day celebration next week. So I'm just want to see if you'd be interested to join as one of the panel of the women's
Sure.
that we have invited.
Absolutely.
So it will be the same time actually. So still 1 hour, but in a different way. We have a theme, and then we'll prepare the questions for you. So there will be lots of women's.
Love it.
Definitely, we'll invite men to support the women as well. All right. So yeah, that's about it. I'll just shoot you a private message regarding
Okay.
that initiative if you wish to join or if you have the availability to do so, and then yeah, we can move forward. All right.
Perfect.
Yeah. So anything additional, both before we close the session for today?
Love your neighbor. Just love your neighbor. Love the community. And thank you very much. Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you all.
All right. So since there's no additional things, definitely everything is crystal clear and very informative. So I feel like I feel very nurtured right now, but I have to take time to swallow every information I have gathered today, since it's really quite a lot for just two topics. Well, anyway, I hope you feel the same. For those who are watching this live session, and for those who will be watching this later as well for the recorded part. All right. So we look forward for each and everyone to join us next week as we have a special celebration for Women's Day. So we'll be holding a different type of webinar but still it will be informational. So thank you so much all for joining in today, and keep safe as always from Let Us Talk It team and from Cogent. Take care, everyone, and thank you.
Thank you. Fantastic presentation. Thank you.